Hey everybody, Robert Dunt, founder of ArtTop10.com, and I'm here today at the, generally superb new Tate exhibition of Modigliani. So let's have a quick look around. What I think a lot of people don't particularly know is that Modigliani actually wanted to be a sculptor, and as the curator I was just chatting to said, he did actually introduce himself as a sculptor to people. But not everybody really knows, but that's what he really wanted to do, to work in stone. And these are some of the drawings that I would say harked that kind of desire to do work in stone. And one of the amazing rooms in this exhibition actually is through here, where there frankly is just a stunning collection of sculptures he did. He got these absolutely brilliant sculptures, which I always think are quite amazing. They have the same sense as the paintings do. They've got a sort of stylized form to them, but the stylized form I wouldn't say comes across as the research to achieve that stylized form is not something that comes across as always using the same idea, but he seems to be sort of searching for a single unified idea of these figures, and that one in the background is frankly quite extraordinary. Look at it with that elongated face. It's actually like a sort of alien. But I mean, that's going to stick in your mind for years. And I think frankly he's never really had the reputation he should do as a sculptor, which is absolutely stunning. I think these are just remarkable. Now the exhibition's pulled together 100 Modiglianis, which I find quite impressive, because even though he did have this drunken reputation, he was obviously not only an alcoholic but a workaholic. He obviously produced a huge amount of work. I think 40 of these paintings have never been seen in the UK, and I guess one of the stunning ones is this one with all the nudes. Now of course at the time these caused a lot of upset and provocation. The police came and shut down the exhibition because he depicted the people with pubic hair, and they'd never had that done before. It was always stylized, traditional hair-free nudes, but this room is quite amazing. You've got a huge amount of these nudes, and I think what's interesting is as you look through them, it's not just that element of what was controversial in the past, but he's looking at trying to do different things with each one. He's still got that lovely loose brush strokes. Look, he's got a Cézanne-like sort of brushed colour going on in the background, that darker colour at the bottom, that massive contrasts of sort of black and white essentially. He could have been getting that from Manet. And these other figures, they're quite extraordinary. There's so much to look at. Look over there, those brush strokes, loose and painted on. So he may have been working in a sort of, I suppose, a lucrative style, but he was still experimenting. Now what I think, bizarrely enough, this little landscape, I think this is absolutely fascinating, this painting, because it's not a figure or anything. I guess there's barely any landscapes here, but it just shows what a stunning painter he is. You've got all that nice scratchy painting in the top, all this sort of almost dry put on oil paint, and it's a bit more watery down at the bottom. And I guess it's a sort of playing on the Cézanne roofs and stuff like that. But look at that. It's so fresh. I think it's just a stunning painting, and that sort of simple little landscape gives away a lot about what is actually so good, like a painting like this of this woman here. It's fascinating. So I think what you really get is a very, very extraordinary artist. The exhibition begins with Modigliani leaving Italy at the age of 21 and heading to Paris, where frankly he just encounters an extraordinary melting pot of people and ideas such as Picasso. So the exhibition begins with the paintings he did when he arrived in Paris, such as these ones here and some of his earlier drawings. You can already see with a painting like that he had quite an extraordinary sense of style from a very young age. Intriguingly though, you can also see he was still quite heavily influenced by people like Cézanne, as you can see from this painting here. The exhibition goes on to explain how Modigliani captured fellow artists from Montmartre, Montparnasse, and interesting, that he sort of flirted with Cubism, and obviously with painters such as Joan Gris around, but he never fully went to Cubism. He rejected it and stuck with figurative representation. But you get a sense of the most extraordinary world he was in, how creative it was at the time. And you've got a painting like this where he's got much more, dabs of brushstrokes, almost pointillist in its style. You've got this cracking, and that's actually a portrait of the painter Frank Caveland. You've got this lovely little painting of Picasso, and this is the sort of things that I think are absolutely stunning, little paintings like this. There's so little in there, it's so loosely done. And you've got a lovely thick paint on the left, you've got the drawing that's sort of roughly filled in, you've got the loose paint at the bottom. I don't think it looks half-worked, it just looks light. It's just sort of, there's so much space in it to keep you looking, which I think is one of the things that's absolutely stunning about Modigliani. Again, if you look at this, there's flat patches of colour in this painting of Henri Laurens, but it's not got no tedious effort worrying about whether or not they touch neatly. It's all sort of put on, but not in a slapdash way, but in a relaxed sort of confident fashion almost. But it's not boring to look at because it's still so alive and fresh. That's one of the things that I think is so fascinating about the exhibition and about Modigliani. Today we've got loads of photography, photography, installation work, or new media work. And while those things are fascinating and rightfully should have a place in the art world, because we need to experiment, what they don't have is the sense of the hand of the artist, of the person painting. So if you look at this painting here, you can see the lovely brushstrokes in the centre of the stomach and the side of the chair. And you can see that Modigliani was really painting it. You get a sense of the painting, and he's playing with motifs and imagery in the background, and they're all stroked and ground on. You get such a sense of him painting the thing. It's almost like you know the man through the movement of his arm. So in time, Modigliani became quite well known within the artistic circle of Montmartre, and he started a relationship with the writer and editor Beatrice Hastings, and they were lovers, and their volatile romance was marked by drunken fights and arguments. Absolutely fascinating, this painting of Beatrice Hastings, actually, because look, if you see in the bottom right hand corner, it looks like he's actually painted this on top of something with a pattern. That is extraordinarily contemporary. Look at that, he's painted on top of a pattern, left just a hint of it. So he used what looks like a blue background, oil paint on paper, it says. Extraordinary. It's so experimental and radical for the time. Absolutely fascinating. But you begin to get the sense, and this is room 7, you begin to get the sense of that mythical figure he's now become for us. He is that Iggy Pop, Jim Morrison artist, drunk, dies at 35. There's just so much about him that's mythical that it's almost hard for us to read him as not this mythical figure. But I suppose we love these mythical figures, don't we? We stay with our romantic sense of what artists are like. Just to keep the thing entertaining, there's even a virtual reality room here where you can immerse yourself in a virtual reality recreation of Modigliani's final studio. What more do you want? Cracking stuff. And here we are in the last room, where in the grip of addiction, with his health weaker, Modigliani died in January 1920 at the age of 35. Think how many paintings he made at that time. This is just a small selection. It's absolutely stunning. Hibberton, expecting their second child, took her own life a few days later. Disturbing, isn't it? That somebody who does such stunning paintings kind of lived such a troubled, I'm not sure if troubled is quite the way to say it, but look at these paintings. They're still fascinating. They're still amazingly painted. They're still loose and they've still got these weird eyeballs that I think relate to the sculpture primarily. These eyeballs you can't see through. The colours are sort of, maybe they're more muted than I would have thought, but I mean they're not really muted. There's lots of earth colours, lots of dark and light efforts, and lots of things like this one, which still has an incredible Cézanne sense to it. And he's got those lovely colours in the background, like Cézanne always used. And then this one over here, I think, is one of his last few paintings, which they're saying shows him still as a confident artist, even though he was soon to die. But he looks a little bit thin and disturbed in it, if anything. Extraordinary paintings. Absolutely stunning expression. I'm not sure why, but I think this is a cracking little painting. I think once again it's so loose and quick and light, but you get a real sense of that person's face, and you know, the shoulders and the arm are all sort of drifting away into some sort of crazy unreality. But and then you've got lovely brush strokes. Oops, sorry, I think I just set off an alarm. You've got the lovely brush strokes in the back right hand corner, sort of floating around. Cracking stuff. One of the things that's quite interesting I just picked up from the curator tour is that in some of the nudes here they've also got women clothed as well, so you can see this one here, and she's got the same necklace actually, I think, from going from painting to painting. So it's quite interesting, they've shown that sort of both sides. And it looks like you've got the same thing here, where you've got the same person both as a nude and clothed as well, which is quite interesting, because I mean the one on the left is already obviously famous Modigliani, so it's quite interesting to see that other one as well. So overall, an absolutely stunning exhibition. I think it's really interesting to have a really good Modigliani exhibition, because you don't, well, I suppose even as I would just say now, Tate Modern wouldn't necessarily have something like this, but it is extraordinary, really, really worth seeing. Amazing how much work he managed to make, even though he's got a mythic status of drunken rock god. And basically, as a painter myself, I just absolutely love looking at the way he's put the paint on. Stunning. I mean, in a way, it is incredibly radical, because he was really taking stuff like Manet or more sort of organised, slower painters, maybe even more, more glazed paintings by painters from the past, and he puts this quite loose, contemporary, exciting spin on the whole thing, and just makes it all seem so fresh and exciting. And that's what I still get from it today, this fresh, exciting sense of painting and being able to look at the world, and a looseness to take up motif from Matisse or Cézanne and just enjoy playing with those things. So yeah, it's a cracking exhibition and well worth coming. As ever, please subscribe, like, and all those sort of things. Okay, cheerio, bye bye.